All right, rugby fans from around the world in the United States. It's a beautiful day here in the Valley of the Sun on the Arizona State campus. Today's 9 a.m. match brings us Stanford versus Western Washington University in the D1 semifinal match of the Collegiate Rugby Association of America. My name's Brent Weber. In the booth with me today is Sean O'Leary. Sean, we called a game on Friday, saw a couple matches, some very high quality play from the women on Friday. Stanford had a convincing 70-12 win over Arizona, and Western Washington defeated Arizona State in a 26-15, a little bit of a tighter match. What do you expect from today's match, Sean?
Morning, Brent. Morning, everyone. I would loved watching the rugby on Friday. High quality, fast-paced, Stanford team particularly. A couple of things that stood out to me in reviewing the games yesterday was when we noticed Western Washington playing ASU, their strength is around the ruck on both attack and defense. They're good line speed coming off. They've got some good strong athletes, and also then when they're attacking around the fringes until there's plenty of space out wide. Their two playmakers are their number 10 and number 12, and they're communicating the whole time. Stanford is a different animal. They are full with athletes, obviously coming from Stanford, high rugby IQ, and they just like to play, and that was indicative of running up a big score against a good Arizona team. So I think two different styles of play here, and when we go to rugby to sevens tournaments, Brent, we always say it's the race to recover. And so will the easier game stand to Stanford, or will the harder game and grinding it out against ASU stand to Western Washington? We have to see how they recovered yesterday.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, we're getting ready for the kickoff here. Western Washington is sporting their dark blue and white hoops today in the darker colors, and Stanford in the cardinal red with the white shorts. The ball is in the air. Western Washington lets it hit the deck there. They do recover. And the match is away. We did see Western Washington really utilize their forwards with some diamond pods, if you will, to open up really some center and some wing play. We just saw a quick carry there by Marin Cohen, Madison, Wisconsin product. She was a playmaker yesterday, both at center, and then she slipped into fly half later in the match. Speaking of Marin, there is a kick to touch from behind the 22.
That's a great exit kick.
And right in front of us, literally in front of us, we will have a Stanford line out. Throwing in for the lineup today is number 7, Sydney Davis for Stanford. Well thrown ball just off the top, tipped back.
Knocked forward first.
Will be a knock forward. It will be a scrum to Stanford. First scrum of the day. Stanford put in, I assume this will be number 9, Vivian Studert. Nice controlled scrum, nice drive by Stanford. A little dummy switch. 1 dummy 2, a little pass to the outside center, we'll call that 3. Up. And we will have a penalty against Western Washington, a tap and go by number 7, Sydney Davis. Nice 3 or 4 meter gain by the Stanford forwards. They did set a couple big forwards out wide, using them to crash, and Stanford continues to pick up precious meters. Nice little shifty move by the fly half outside. Play is stopped.
He was playing advantage there, the referee was, to an earlier knock by Western Washington.
Once we get a longer break, folks, I will run through the rosters here. But for now, it's Stanford ball inside Western Washington's 22. And again, once again, it's Vivian Studert with the put-in. A little bit of space out to the right for number 11, Journey Washington High.
I was keen to see what Western Washington were going to do there. That was the second scrum of the morning, and Stanford won their first one quite comfortably, but it was a strength of Western Washington's on Friday, so they came back there and forced a knock on and a turnover scrum to Western Washington. So good response.
Well, Brooklyn Merkerson with the put in for Western Washington. Out to Marin Cohen. An attempt to touch. Unfortunately knocked on by number 11 from Stanford, Journey Washington High. So we will have a scrum to Western Washington. Unfortunate, Journey did have some space to run there. Western Washington scrum right on the 5-meter line, setting up a lot of space for the Western Washington back line to work with. The scrum is set in front of the 22. Looks like a bit of an early push by Stanford. Referee is sorting things out with the front rows, I should say. Brooklyn Merkerson with the put-in for Western Washington. And we'll have a penalty to Stanford. Quick tap and go by Stanford. Working it wide.
Forward pass.
It is a forward pass, and it will be a scrum to Western Washington off the forward pass. A little bit of a breeze in the air today. It's about 65, 70 degrees in the Valley of the Sun today. Bit of a breeze, but nothing like the wind we saw yesterday at 20, 35 miles per hour at times. So we will have a scrum center to Stanford.
To Western Washington.
I'm sorry, to Western Washington. They fled heavy to their right side of the scrum, leaving a lot of space to the left. Stanford with a big push. Referee will reset the scrum.
Both sides working really hard in those scrums.
Nice movement wide by Western Washington. I believe that's number 11, Carly Matson. Picking up about 20 meters for Western Washington. Looks like she was taken into touch. It should be a line out to Stanford. Just inside Western Washington territory.
So, Brent, I don't believe Western Washington have been out of their own half since the kickoff. That's the first 7 or 8 minutes. And what little wind there is favoring them currently.
Nice little pass too from fly half Sayla Comerton to Marin Cohen. Nice little crash ball by Clementine Radoff. Number 13 for Western Washington.
That's a great turnover. Very brave. And looks like she got a bang in the face on Friday. And she's, again, just sticking her face in the spokes there to get a good turnover for Stanford.
This will be Laura Bosick for Stanford. The penalty kick to touch. Beautiful kick. We'll put the Stanford line out right at the 22 of Western Washington. Another overthrown line out throw. Turnover to Western Washington. Western Washington fly half dancing around there, getting some space. Out to Marin Cohen.
Little chip kick there, Brent.
Nice little chip kick ahead by Marin. Picked up by teammate and center Clementine Radoff.
But forward pass.
But a forward pass result.
Beautiful little chip kick.
Yeah, and a great chase, great little chase on the chip. Nice fortuitous bounce into Clementine's hand, but unfortunately it was resulted in a forward pass and a scrum to Stanford right on the midline. We're about 7-8 minutes into the match. We do not have a scoreboard here today. Score remains 0-0. Most of the play has been in Western Washington territory. Ball does come out of the tunnel, and we will reset the scrum to Stanford.
Brent, that was one of the things we noticed on Friday about Marin Cohen, that she had a very educated right boot, and that when she struck the ball, it really was well executed, and that chip kick was absolutely perfect for her fellow centre to run onto.
Stanford wins their scrum. Out to the fly half. The fly half for Stanford with a nice little, that's Laura Bosick with a nice little chip ahead into the hands of, I believe that's Western Washington's fullback, Sasha Bird Lopez. Very busy day for Sasha yesterday. Western Washington goes wide. Nice line speed by Stanford defense.
Knocked forward by Stanford in the tackle.
Referee does call the knock on. Stanford knock on. It will be a scrum to Western Washington. Number 9, Brooklyn Merkerson with the Washington put in. Western Washington chooses to go wide. Good line speed by Stanford's defense. Western Washington struggling to get out of the inside of their 22. It's a penalty to Stanford.
Obstruction, yeah. She ran right behind another player.
We'll see what Stanford's decision here. Looks like they're setting up a tap and go on the penalty. However, they are dead center to the post, about 20 meters out. They do tap and go. Vanessa Onuha,
Strong
number 3,
run,
strong run. Out to number 4, Zoe Coloretto Mansfeld. Stanford uses it wide successfully.
Forward
pass to Sydney Davis. Unfortunate. She was dotting that down, Sean. Unfortunately, the pass was forward.
Sydney has been involved in everything that Stanford are doing.
So we'll have a scrum to Western Washington on that forward pass on the far side of the field. Again, Western Washington is struggling to get out of there 22 the entirety of the first half here. Scrum collapses. Referee will reset.
A little bit of a tendency we saw on Friday as well from Stanford. We know how good they are, but it was a tight game for a while against Arizona, and then they exploded for some enormous amount of points very quickly. So they have the potential to do that, but in fairness, I don't think Western Washington have stepped into the Stanford half in this first 15 minutes yet.
Ball's back, exit kicked by Marin Cohen.
Penalty for offside.
Penalty offside. It'll be we suspect Marin Cohen will take the kick here.
Actually, it wasn't offside. Broke off the scrum early. One of the flankers for Stanford.
Marin Cohen, number 12 for Western Washington, eyes the touchline. Penalty kick is up. And it does find touch. So a little bit of relief there from Stanford. Nice 20-meter gain on the penalty kick. Will be a Western Washington line out. Still inside their territory, Sean.
Right here, ladies. Right there, perfect. Good right here.
Ref, are we doing 20-minute water breaks?
Yes.
So just confirm there that on the 20-minute mark or close to it, the closest break to play, around 20 minutes, we will have a water break. Which, in speaking to a couple of the players and coaches this morning, even though Brent and I live here and this is absolutely beautiful weather in Phoenix, or actually just a little bit outside Phoenix in Tempe, Arizona, some of them were complaining that the heat was getting to them. So I would imagine they will enjoy an extended 2-minute break at the 20-minute mark.
So Western Washington put in. Working it wide. There is some space out wide. Number 13, Clementine Radoff, out 2.
Oh, she did very well to stay in bounds. Very, very well.
Western Washington did have the corner there. It was nice recovery defense by
Referee's
Stanford.
playing advantage here, Brent, for an infringement at that breakdown. Oh, that's a horse collar.
Yep, that's a high tackle.
On
on the knock.
Yeah. Surprised he's not calling that.
No call for the high tackle, at least from our vantage point. It is on the far side of the field in the ref's defense.
Are you saying our eyesight might be seeing something we didn't see?
Well, there's 110 plus years sitting in this booth right now, so. So Stanford put in on the far side of the field. Stanford scrum. Western Washington applying a little bit of pressure there. We did see Kiana Clary, the hooker for Western Washington, had a heck of a day, very busy day yesterday. She was in the back line there with the exchange.
She had a fabulous day. If she recovered well, she hasn't been as prominent yet as she was on Friday, but to see her in those last 2 passages of play, if she gets her legs under her, she really stood out on Friday with the 2 ladies you've already mentioned, number 10 and number 12 for Western Washington.
Yeah, very high work rate yesterday for Kiana Clary. Very impressive. Okay, so 8-man pickup by Stanford. Kirsten Lees. Stanford's fly half. Laura Bosek with a high up and under towards the touch line. Fielded well by Western Washington. Back to Marin Cohen. Marin Cohen does fine touch. Ball was behind the 22, so it will be a Stanford line out. Still inside Western Washington territory, though. We do have a Stanford player down. I believe that's number 6, Renee Bertrand. Being tended to by the athletic trainer. Referee's calling time off to tend to the injured player. Again, that's Renee Bertrand.
And he's taking advantage of that injury to take a break for a water break now as well.
With that, Sean, I'll run through the rosters real quick. For Western Washington, props, Vicky Rodenbaugh, Shalome Mercado, hooker, Kiana Clary, locks, Gabby Wright, Malia Diaz. On the flanks, number 6, Lily Airy, number 7, Cora Cummings, 8, Avon Webb. The back line, scrum half, Brooklyn Merkerson, fly half, Sayla Comerton. Centers, Marin Cohen and Clementine Radoff. On the wings, number 11, Carly Matson, number 14, Lydia Nelson. Fullback, number 15, is Sasha Bird Lopez. The reserves, number 16, Grace Breger, number 17, Z Trower, 18, Esther Anderson, 19, Adele Shane, number 20, Verena Carey, number 21, Callie Seymour, number 22, Ray Price, and 23 is Soph Smith. As far as the staff is concerned, head coach Kaylee Gladwell, the assistant coaches Abby Daughtry, Michael Mauger, and Charlie Ronan. For Stanford, props Layla Wang Goyette and Vanessa Onuha, testing my enunciations here. Hooker is Georgia Scar. In the locks is Zoe Coloredo Mansfield and Emma Trost. Flanking, Renee Bertrand and Sydney Davis. 8, Kirsten Lees. To the backs, number 9, Vivian Studert, scrum half. Number 10, Laura Bosick, and the fly half. In the centers, Jackie McLean and Anna Palacios. On the wings, number 11, Journey Washington High and Amaya Hicks. At fullback, Kara Felt. In reserves, 16, Nancy Bow. Number 17, Eva Lieberman. 18, Hope Adonha Home Shipman. 19 is Madison Cunningham. Number 20, Paige Fitzpatrick. Number 21, Chisa Ogaki. Number 22, Emily Capstick. Number 23, Dominique Ruda Flores. Number 24, Isabel McNabb. Head coach, Richard Ashfield. Assistant coaches in support, Irene Gardner and Nick Irwin. And athletic trainer, Sam Queen.
So good line-out take there by Stanford. Had set up a really nice maul, Brent, and then turned over. So Western Washington, again, living off scraps, living in their own half of the field, but dominating possession, to be quite honest.
Yeah, they very, very controlled possession by what we saw yesterday with Western Washington.
And here, you know, referees playing advantage again for an infringement by Stanford.
Western Washington with a very flat attack. Again, to their forwards, trying to pick up the meters. There is a penalty too. Advantage was being played. Tap and go by Marin Cohen. Looks like that's into Kiana Clary, hooker. Nice little crash ball. I believe that's Kiana Clary again. Goal and a turnover to Stanford.
With loads of space and personnel out here.
Yeah, there's a nice 2-on-1, if not a 3-on-1 on the outside here. Ball is taken up by number 8, Kirsten Lees. Stanford number 13, Anna Palacios.
Oh, yeah, driven out into touch.
Into touch.
Good defense, Brent. You know, the bodies were there, the personnel were there, the space was there. And then by the time Stanford got the ball out, everything was closed down and drove them into touch. Another turnover for Western Washington.
For those that just joined us, we are just after our 20-minute hydration break. Score is 0-0. In spite of number I believe that was number 10, Sayla Comerton. Big hard run by number 6, Lily Airy. Also very active in yesterday's match against Arizona State.
For not rolling away there by their number 5 for Stanford.
Sasha Bird Lopez, fullback for Western Washington, shoots a gap. Western Washington now playing in Stanford's area. Nice little fancy footwork by Marin Cohen. Stanford luckily to grab her by the jersey, bring her down, but there was a Western Washington player in support. A lot of numbers for Western Washington out to the left. I believe that was Kiana Clary with a hard charging hooker for Western Washington, but appears ball is turned over to Stanford. Stanford showing some patience there, trying to pick up some meters for their clearing kick by the fly half. Ball is away, does not find touch. Number 11, Carly Matson finds some space, brought down by Stanford after a nice shifty footwork run. Again, nice driving run by Marin Cohen. Western Washington showing some hope here. Attempting to swing the ball wide. Does find Sasha Bird Lopez, fullback. Working the ball back right. Western Washington. Out to Marin Cohen, hooking up with partner in crime, Clementine Radoff in the center.
Unfortunately, forward pass there.
And a forward pass.
First sustained pressure by Western Washington in the Stanford half. Maintained possession there, but just a couple of errors, small errors, preventing them from scoring.
Western Washington's playing a bit more wider play today, Sean. Testing the edges a bit more versus the diamond forward pods we saw yesterday. Definitely in the first half of the Western Washington-Arizona State game.
Yeah, but both playmakers are still dictating plays, 10 and 12, and they're interchangeable. We now see they're out half, out in the centers, and 12 is the decision maker from this set piece. We saw that a lot on Friday, and it worked. It showed that both of them are their IQ players, and their decision making was superior on Friday.
So as Sean mentions, number 10, Sayla Comerton moved out, is now sitting at outside center. Outside center, Clementine Radoff moves to inside center, and inside center, Marin Cohen is now at fly half. Stanford with the exit kick behind their 22. Does not find touch, but it is bouncing towards the touch line.
Slight knock forward.
Knock on.
Yeah.
Yep. Slight knock on by Stanford. It'll be a scrum to Western Washington. Number 10, Brooklyn Merkerson with the put in for Western Washington scrum. Clean ball. We had a dummy runner with number 13 out wide. Sasha Bird Lopez with the ball for Western Washington.
Another turnover.
Another turnover to Stanford. Kirsten Lees, number 8, taking the ball up. It's a kick down the middle of the field. Taking some funny bounces.
As a rugby ball is wont to do.
Yep. Ultimately, Carly Matson recovers it, finds
and tackled into touch.
Tackled into touch by Western Washington. We'll have a Stanford line out just inside Stanford territory. Again, just a stunningly beautiful blue sky day here in the Valley of the Sun. Off to the left is Camelback Mountain and the Papagos. So Stanford line out, ultimately handled by Stanford. Ball is spun to the centers.
Again, great line speed, catching Stanford well behind the gain line.
Yep. It's Jackie McLean, number 12 for Stanford, taking that ball up. Stanford retains possession. Nice little chip ahead. It stayed in touch. Or stayed in the field of play, I should say. Bounces out. Ultimately, it will be a line out to Western Washington. And Kiana Clary with the line out throw, and I believe there's about 5.5 minutes left in the first half. Score is 5 Stanford, 0 Western Washington. Try scorer was Kara Fight. Throw in by Kiana Clary. Cleaned up by Western Washington. Number 5, Malia Diaz.
Advantage for the knock on now to Stanford.
Stanford working it wide, a little east-west running. We need to straighten that up a little bit. Stanford with a pot of 3 forwards there, taking the ball up. Another pot of 3-4 forwards, including number 8, Kirsten Lees. Ball swung wide to Jackie McLean, but good line speed and defense by Western Washington. Nice hard run by Lily Airy, number 6 flanker for Western Washington. And a turnover ball. Back to Stanford.
The line speed from Western Washington, Brent, is quite impressive.
No doubt.
And forced the kick, yeah.
Yep, forcing the kick.
Well caught.
Didn't see the number, but I'm assuming that was Sasha Bird Lopez, fullback, fielding that ball for Western Washington.
In from the side.
In from the side, penalty to Western Washington. We'll see what Marin Cohen, if she can pick up, get this ball into Stanford territory for a Western Washington line out. And she does. So it'll be a Western Washington line out just inside the midline. We're definitely inside 5 minutes. I bet there's about 3 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, correct. 3 minutes left. Are you surprised, Brent? It's only a 5-0 game at this stage.
Just a lot of great defense. Unfortunately, a few knock-ons, but that's the result of some great hard line speed from the defensive on both sides.
Both sides, yeah.
Ball does bounce to Western Washington side, however, picked up by Stanford, so we'll have a turnover. Stanford has some forwards wrapping. It's number 2, Georgia Scarb with the powerful run up. Ball is spun wide. Ref says play on. Appeared to be a knock, but ref says play on. Kick ahead, fielded by number 15, Sasha Bird Lopez. Very active yesterday, very active today. Western Washington maintains possession. Out to a pot of forwards. We saw this tactical type formation yesterday by Western Washington. Very successful with it. They do pick up about a good 5-6 meters there. Nice little loop wrap by Marin Cohen. Keeps her feet driving. Dumps the ball to number 2, Kiana Clary. And it will be a penalty to Western Washington.
No release in the tackle.
The wind has shifted. The wind is to the backs of Western Washington. We'll see if that plays into their decision making here. To kick the post. Nope. Tap and go by Marin Cohen. Out to a pot of forwards. I believe that's number 1, Vicky Rodenbaugh. Nice ruck platform by Western Washington.
She has her hands on the ball. I don't know if ref is. Yeah.
Western Washington is not contesting the ruck. Ball was not being used at a penalty to Stanford.
He may reverse this. He's going to have a chat for some back talk, I think.
Western Washington does retreat 10. Referee is definitely counseling on something. As Sean said, maybe a little.
He originally gave the penalty to Stanford, and has reversed the penalty for back chat.
This could be a significant penalty in the fact that we're dead center from the post, about 20, right? Call it 30 meters out from the post. Referee does indicate post. The tee is being run on for Marin Cohen. Based on yesterday's performance, I think she does have the leg to get it there. And the wind is slightly to her back. A little east to west wind here in Tempe, Arizona. If you can hear the airplanes above, we are definitely in the flight path of Sky Harbor International Airport, about 15 minutes away from the Arizona State campus. Marin Cohen for Western Washington approaches. Ball is up, and she slots it through. Bringing the score to 5 to Stanford, 3 to Western Washington. We are very close to halftime.
She is a lovely striker of a rugby ball. We saw that Friday from the tee and also from the hand, and we're seeing it again today with that lovely chip kick earlier, her kicks to touch, and now her kicking from the tee. Superb.
She had a beautiful conversion on her own try yesterday from the sideline.
Yep.
Nice little draw.
Like your golf swing, Brent, I heard.
Like my golf swing, except for I go the other way, which is a nice educated fade or slice, as they call it. Actually, the fields we're playing on is the old Karsten ASU golf course, remade into 3 or 4 beautiful rugby pitches here. All grass, wonderful field for the Collegiate Rugby Association of America playoffs, women's playoffs.
No release or over the top, I think. Stanford now giving away more penalties. I think number 7 for Stanford's getting a little frustrated there. And that'll be halftime, I bet.
And that'll be half, folks. Score is Stanford 5, Western Washington 3, and we will go to half and break.
I learned a little bit from my video review.
What?
I learned a little bit from.
Oh, yeah. Okay, rugby fans, we're back to the Western Washington University Stanford semifinal match. Score is 5 Stanford, 3 Western Washington. Stanford's try came from Craa Fight. It was unconverted, and the penalty goal came from Marin Cohen for Western Washington. So the score remains 5-3, with Western Washington kicking off to Stanford. Beautiful day here in the Valley of the Suns for those of you just joining us, about 65, 70 degrees. Not nearly the wind we had Friday, but a little bit of a breeze. Hasn't really come into play yet, and it did help, I believe it assisted Marin on her penalty kick a little bit. Slotted it very high through the posts. Speaking of Marin will restart the second half. Number 12 for Western Washington. Nice kick by Marin, taken cleanly by Stanford. Just reaches the 10-meter line. Nice carry forward by the Stanford forwards. Nice little diamond pod set up to the right of the ruck. That was number 3, Vanessa Onuha. Nice defense by Western Washington for a Stanford loss. Stanford does recover. Nice little carry by Zoe Coloretto Mansfeld. Kick ahead to Western Washington, takes a favorable bounce to Stanford. It was knocked down by Western Washington. We will have a Stanford scrum on the far side of the field, just inside the midline in Western Washington territory.
So, Brent, I see a tactic change from Stanford since a little after the water break. So they may have discussed it at the water break in the first half, but they're kicking more because they realize the Western Washington defense is coming up very hard and pushing Stanford back. And number 10 for Stanford is using chip kick and kicking to get over the defensive line. And here we go again.
Yep. Lauren Bosek, it is deflected by Western Washington, picked up cleanly by Sasha Bird Lopez, the fullback. She does a really nice job on counterattacks, Sean. Marin Cohen, 2-touch.
The referee's bringing it back for... Oh, it was brought back in.
Likely a scrum center to Stanford, and we do. We'll see what setup Stanford has with this nice attacking center field scrum. They do split the centers with a wing on each side. A little bit heavier personnel towards us in the announcing booth.
Big contingent of Stanford fans here.
They do go to the far side. Ball looks like it is dumped forward. Referee says play on. Nice carry by Layla Wongayet. Washington having to rely on good defense as Stanford remains in Western Washington's half most of the match. Stanford, nice little fly half wrap. Loop, if you will, taken up by number 13, Anna Palacios. Out to try score, Dominique Ruta Flores. Nice little take by hooker, Georgia Scar for Stanford. Layla Wongayet, ball carrier, taken down by Western Washington. Got Sydney Davis, number 7, very active. Finds a teammate. That's Number 15, Craa Fight, centers the ball. Well done by Stanford, Sean.
Yeah, their shape is very good. You can see they've maintained their shape the whole game out to play either side of the field. And Western Washington has been coming up really hard on defense, and it just might be a little bit of fatigue. 2 games in 2 days is brutally hard, and it just seems that Stanford are able to just get out on the outside there now in the last 2 scores in the last 5 minutes.
That's a second try for Craa Fight today, and Craa will attempt to add 2 more points with her conversion kick. I really liked how she took that ball on pace. Once she got the ball in hand, she separated from the rest of the field. Ball is up. Kick is good. Score is now 17 in favor of Stanford to Western Washington's 3. So 17-3, we're about 11-12 minutes into the second half. Again, a beautiful day here on the Arizona State campus. Again, Marin Cohen with the restart after the Stanford try. Ball is up, it does go 10. Takes a big bounce over a Stanford player. Back to Laura Bosek, fly half for Stanford. Nice kick ahead. Collected by Sasha Bird Lopez. Good tackle by number 15. Try scorer Craa Fight. Western Washington maintains possession, works it to the far side of the field. That's center Clementine Radoff, ball carrier. Vicky Rodenbaugh taking it up on a little prop crash ball. And there's a Stanford turnover. Notice another reserve coming on for Stanford. Hope Adhanomi Shipman, number 18. Nifty little tactical kick by Laura Bosek, fly half for Stanford. Once again, Sasha Bird Lopez with the counterattack. Nifty little chip by Marin Cohen, fielded by number 11, Journey Washington High. And we will have a penalty to Stanford. It appears Western Washington may have left their feet going into the ruck.
Yeah, and this kicking strategy from Stanford is starting to pay off now. They're saying we're going to take some territory, and we're going to force Western Washington to make mistakes, or to get a little, force the game a little bit, because they're behind. Western Washington are now right now. So territory game for Stanford in the lead. I really think Western Washington have to be the next to score here, Brent.
If they want to make a match of it, for certain. Yeah, Laura Bosek is just her tactical kicking. She's just snipering today, picking up every meter that the touchline has to give. This will be a Stanford line out inside Western Washington's 22. Sydney Davis, number 7, with the throw in for Stanford. Stanford attempts, I believe, the 4th maul off a line out today. Western Washington blew up the last one. Stanford does a little bit better this time. A little 10-13 wrap. Nice defense by Western Washington. Nice work rate by number 7, Sydney Davis. Again, Sydney off the ruck, picks up the ball. Towards
Great
the side.
turnover by Western Washington.
Marin Cohen sees some space, picks up some meters. Ball is outside Western Washington's 22. So the ball went straight out, so it will come back to the point of the kick. And he'll have a Stanford line out.
Yeah, brought back into the 22, so where the kick originated from.
Boy, Sydney Davis, you know, obviously she sustained an injury to her face. Her face is all wrapped up. Boy, she has a work rate. She's all over the field.
Tough as nails.
Yep. Again, line out one by Stanford, attempt the maul. They square it up. Peeled off by Kirsten Lees, number 8.
And
she is in for the try. Yeah. Well done by Kirsten Lees. Fourth try of the day for Stanford. Brings our score to 22-3 in favor of Stanford before the conversion.
Really smart tactic from Stanford, Brent. They did their film review. I know Rich Ashfield and they obviously saw on film that this defense from Western Washington was all their forwards coming up really fast off the line. They suck them into a maul off the line out. They had won some mauls. They tightened them up, and they're eliminating those forwards from the defensive line, and then that big number 8 just was able to rumble in there. Just really smart.
Craa Fight, fullback for Stanford with a kick, just misses wide right. The wind may have played a little bit of effect. They're pushing it to the right. Had a nice line on it. We had a great vision on that one. Just outside the goalpost. And
we're taking a hydration break here. It's a couple of minutes break at the 20-minute or close to the 20-minute mark for water break here for the players, as it's starting to get a little bit hotter temperature-wise.
Yeah, we're about 18 minutes into the second half. Score is 22 in favor of Stanford. To 3 points for Western Washington. 4 tries on the day for Stanford, 2 by Craa Fight, 1 by Dominique Ruda Flores, and the most recent one by Kirsten Lees off a beautiful Stanford maul. She peeled off the maul, found a gap, dotted it down. 22-3 in favor of Stanford Cardinal. Again, coming up next, we will have Claremont Colleges against Cal Berkeley Bears. As you may hear, we have some airplanes flying above. We are directly in the flight path. Sky Harbor International Airport. On just an outstandingly beautiful day in the Valley of the Sun. Chamber of Commerce Day, Sean.
Probably a golfing day for you if your arm wasn't in a sling.
Yeah, unfortunately my golf game is on hold for probably a good 60, 90 days, but recovering from a little bit of an elbow surgery. But we will be watching golf next week, and it's Masters Week, Sean.
Yeah, I actually watching a bit of it yesterday. I was looking at Tom Hoagie. Somebody had said that he might be a surprise challenger this weekend, and as of this morning he was in second place there. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a contingent of Stanford supporters right beside us here, and they have the dreaded clappers.
Pretty good crowd today for women's playoff rugby.
You know, one of the things I failed to mention on Friday, Brent, is the refereeing in all the games has been great. You got to hand it to the local referee union here. We haven't seen anything controversial. The referees have been communicating with the ladies, clear, precise, and it's allowing the games to flow when they can. Obviously, when defenses are dominating, there's a lot of knock-ons and so on, but for the majority, the referees are allowing the players to determine the game.
Okay, Marin Cohen with the restart for Western Washington. Ball is up. Nicely struck. Taken cleanly by number 1, Layla Wangayet. Back to Laura Bosick with another high ball ahead, mishandled by Western Washington. It'll work to Stanford's favor with a Stanford scrum about 30 meters out from Western Washington try line.
And you know, that's a free 30-meter gain by Stanford because they've transferred to this kicking game. They're just saying we're going to take territory and we're going to force you to make mistakes.
So number 9, Vivian Studdert with the put in for Stanford Cardinal. There is a bit of space for a try score. Number 23, Dominic Flores.
That was a big collapse there.
Scrum collapse. We will reform the scrum. Again, Vivian Studdert with the put in. Stanford wins their scrum cleanly. Straight out over the fly half's head into the hands of Jackie McLean, number 12 for Stanford. She fights her way for about 10-meter gain. Again, a little, we'll call it a wiper kick out wide to the wings. It does.
Just a little bit too hot to handle. It went straight into touch.
Straight into touch. The line out to Western Washington will be back to where the kick was, where the kick originated.
But you can see their strategy has completely changed since that first 25 minutes of the game, Brent. I mean, I don't think they kicked the ball once in the first 20-25 minutes.
Kiana Clary with the throw-in for Western Washington, the Western Washington Vikings. Stolen by Stanford. I believe that was number 8, Kirsten Lees. Out to the centers. Nice tackle by Western Washington on a number 13, Anna Palacios, Stanford outside center. Number 18, Hope Adhanomi Shipman with a crash ball.
Strong run. Number 8 for Stanford has really come into the game, hasn't she?
Yes.
She's starting to really see her strong runs up the middle now.
Kirsten Lee's try score, number 8 for Stanford. There's definitely a size advantage to Stanford, just a bigger forward pack, very powerful runners, good ball handlers.
And unfortunately, Western Washington are falling off some of those tackles now as well. Forward pass there, scrum to Western Washington.
Yeah, folks, we're about 25 minutes into the second half. Score remains 22-3 in favor of Stanford. There will be a Western Washington scrum right at their 22-meter line. Ball is spun out to Marin. Nice crash line. Great line by number 13, Clementine Radoff. Back into
what a tackle by the fullback.
Center partner in crime, Marin Cohen. Good movement by Western Washington. We'll see what Western Washington can do with this Nice little attack. They do win their own ruck. Out to that forward pod. Marin Cohen out to the far side. I believe that's Lydia Nelson, number 14, into the tackle. Nice strong run by number 6, Lily Airy. Nifty little pass by number 1, Vicky Rodenbaugh. Out to number 13, Clementine Radoff has had a couple nice runs in this offensive possession.
And referees playing advantage here for, I think, hands in the ruck.
Nice little offload, little Sunny Bill from Marin Cohen to Sayla Comerton. Western Washington showing some patience. Gabby Wright on the carry there. Ball is coming back. Advance was being played. Ball is coming back to Western Washington. They've got to tap and go. They've got to get some points on the board. Marin Cohen finds Clementine Radoff, who finds, I believe that's number 22, Ray Price, coming in from reserve, for reserve. Western Washington knocking on the door.
I suspect this will be forward dominated now here for a few. Try and suck in the Stanford defenders.
Little truck and trailer pick and goes for Western Washington. Although Stanford counterattack,
yeah.
Turnover. Well done by Stanford. Western Washington was slow to the ruck. Paid the penalty for it. So Stanford brings the ball out. They're just, I believe they're right on their 22-meter line. And they wrap some forwards around. I believe that's 18, number 18, Hope Adhanomi Shipman. Ball is cleared.
Oh, great exit, great exit.
Great exit touch. Picks up about 40 meters for Stanford. It will be a Western Washington line out. However, a beautiful exit kick by Stanford.
Yeah, when both teams get up close to us here, Brent, you can see the size difference and the athleticism difference.
So I believe we're about 20 minutes into the second half. Roughly 12 minutes remaining. Stanford 23, Western Washington 3. I'm sorry, Stanford 22, Western Washington 3. Three different try scores for Stanford, with Craa Fight having a couple of them.
3, 4, 5 subs coming in. You'll have your hands full here now, Brent.
We'll try to pick them off one at a time as I can see the numbers.
Well, going off is 2, 7, 10, and 14, and 1. 1, 2, 7, 10, 14 are heading off.
One of the reserves, Verena Carey, with the throw-in for Western Washington. Ball is stolen off the top by Stanford. Nice recovery by the Stanford player. Nice clear and clamp by the Stanford forwards in the ruck. Ball is swung wide. We've got number 3, Vanessa Onuha, with a strong carry. Out to number 12, Jackie McLean.
Yeah.
Nice nifty run by number 1, Layla Wangayet.
And again, those tackles that were sticking in the first half they're falling off them now.
And here we have try scorer number 8, Kirsten Lees, just on the line, and we do have a try. We'll try to get you the number, folks, as soon as we can get it. So Craa Fight with a conversion kick. And we will try to get you a number on the try score.
Number 5.
We believe it's number 5, Emma Trost.
And she's just been subbed out as well after scoring. What a nice way to leave the field.
So Craa fight on the approach. Just a bit wide left. After Emma's try, score is 27, Stanford, 3 to Western Washington. We are starting to see the subs, both teams sub aggressively with some fresh legs after a long fought weekend.
Yeah, it's hard. You play a game on a Friday, and Western Washington's game was very, very physical. Obviously Stanford's was less physical, but they were running a lot. And it wasn't as hot on Friday, but 2 games in 3 days is just ridiculously hard in playoff rugby. So you got to give them a lot of credit. Good athletes, recovered well Friday night and yesterday, and giving us a good game here today.
I would say there's roughly 10 minutes left in the second half. Ball is up, restarts up. Taken well by Stanford. That's number 16, Nancy Bayo. Nancy Bayo. Ball is bouncing around. Western Washington, it will be a Western Washington knock on. Scrum to Stanford. Just inside Western Washington territory. Scrum collapses. Referee will reform the scrum. Very high quality play by Stanford today, Sean. Both forwards and backs.
They've been good for many years. Good athletes, good coaching. They're smart players, obviously, from Stanford, and they take it seriously. So
Stanford with a little dummy with a crash ball to number 15, Craa fight. Again, Craa's had a couple tries today. Stanford works it wide to number 11, Journey Washington High. Ball taken up hard by hooker Georgia Scar for Stanford. Number 7 tough runner Sydney Davis for Stanford picks up some meters. Number 10 Laura Bosick sees a gap, and Laura is in for a try.
just looking at the team sheets here, Brent, and 5 of the reserves for Western Washington are freshmen, and the 6th is a sophomore, the 7th is a junior, and the 8th is a senior. Obviously the coaching staff have decided that they're going to give those players some experience at the Nationals, and I believe they have all their subs on currently. I've seen 16 through 23, and 5 of them are freshmen. That's amazing.
Score is currently 32-3 in favor of Stanford. Number 15, Craa Fight, with the conversion attempt. She's come close on the last 2. Bit of a tougher angle for Craa. Ball is up. Does it have the distance? It does not. Falls short. She had the line. It just fell short a bit. Score remains 32 in favor of Stanford to Western Washington's 3. Western Washington's lone points came from number 12, Marn Cohen. Stanford try scores. Craa Fight has had 2 tries. Dominique Ruta Flores with a try. Kirsten Lees with a try. Emma Trost with a try. And Laura Bosek, who's had a great day at fly half, with the last try for Stanford.
You got to love the attitude of Western Washington. I mean, we saw them at halftime before the game, very loose, enjoying each other's company. They're enjoying the experience here, and even as this game is getting away from them a little bit, they come out from under the posts with this little skip routine. They're still enjoying their day, and they're still enjoying each other. Really positive comms coming from the players, picking each other up. It's great to see. It's really, really good to see.
So we'll have a Western Washington scrum. We'll see if they can finally find the try zone. We're definitely inside 5 minutes, folks. We do not have a scoreboard today. I'm going off my clock. Probably about 4 or 5 minutes remain in the match. Nice little run by number 11, Carly Matson, for Western Washington. Number 16, Grace Breger. Western Washington finally gets ball in hand. Nice little run. We just got the official time, 6 minutes remaining in the match. 32-3 in favor of Stanford.
Yeah, you can't just go down on that ball. You have to stay on your feet.
Playing the ball off the ground. Stanford tap and go. Nifty little left-footed chip by Lauren Bosick. Bounces to Western Washington. Western Washington player does a nice job keeping it in play. Good ruck platform by Western Washington. Hard carry by Lily Airy, number 6. She's had a busy weekend as well. Penalty to Stanford.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that's number 19, Sean? That's Madison Cunningham for Stanford. The crowd is cheering Maddie Cunningham on, so we'll give that try to Madison Cunningham. That brings a score of 37-3 in favor of Stanford before the conversion. We've got a new kicker for Stanford on the conversion, number 21. Chisa Ogaki.
A mechanical engineer, if you wanted to know.
Yep, she's looking at all the angles. Knows her math.
From Osaka.
Yep. The ball is up. Nice ball flight. Tough kick, wide right. Good effort, though.
And she's a freshman.
Very strong boot.
Yeah, she's a freshman.
That takes the score to 37-3, folks. Likely 4 minutes, inside 4 minutes for the remainder of the match. Again, coming up next, Claremont Colleges against Cal Berkeley. Six different try scores for Stanford today, Sean. Very, very well done. Very, very disciplined team. Up. As I say, disciplined. We got a knock on off the restart by number 8. She's had a great day, as well as a try scorer, Kirsten Lees. Will be a scrum to Western Washington, about 30 meters out from Stanford's try line.
you know, this Stanford team is just structured, well coached. They've got skills, and Western Washington stood up to them. It was, you know, what was the score at halftime? 5-3, and they just wore Western Washington down. They've kept playing. They changed their strategy a little bit. They got into a kicking game, realized they wanted to play territory on the field, and then when mistakes came, they took advantage of them. So,
yeah, very, very good tactical kicking today by Laura Bosek. Kicked at the right time, provided relief when needed. And we do have a penalty to Western Washington. I suspect a tap and go here by Maren Cohen. Maren's had a great weekend, shown some true leadership for the Western Washington Vikings. Western Washington is knocking on the door.
Another penalty.
Maren Cohen, number 12, taps and goes. Uses that lower body profile, and Lauren Cohen is in for the try.
And you know what, Brent? Nothing that they didn't deserve. That's really well done, and every player came in to congratulate.
Yep.
That's a sign of a really close-knit group, and they've had a blast in the playoffs here over the last 3 days.
So that brings Western Washington's score line to 8 points. It's 37 to Stanford, 8 to Western Washington. Maren Cohen, the try scorer, and she'll attempt to convert her try as well. Again, a great striker of the ball on conversions. I suspect time will be up either before the restart or shortly after the restart. Ball is up, beautifully struck. Nice little draw.
Looks like we're going to get a restart here, Brent.
Score is 37 Stanford, 37-10 in favor of Stanford over Western Washington. Again, beautiful try by Maren Cohen.
And again, something to take out of the weekend and on their flight home this afternoon. But hard to beat this Stanford team. This Stanford team is polished.
Very versatile too. I mean, using their forwards, using their backs, well controlled by the fly half, number 10. Can't say enough about Lauren Bosek. Really between her and number 8, Kirsten Lees. I mean, just hard running. Great game plan.
Don't forget all the work that number 7 did.
And number 7, yes. Number 7, Sydney Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been all over the field. She's really the glue, I would say.
Yeah.
Good for her. So we will have a Stanford lineup deep into Western Washington territory.
And so for Stanford here now, they head home to host the finals. So the weekend of the 19th.
Nice maul by Stanford.
Goes to ground, brought down by Stanford.
And I believe that's number 19, Maddie Cunningham. Maddie had the most recent Stanford try. He's come in with some fresh legs, powerful running.
And another score.
And another try for Stanford. That brings us to 42-10 before the conversion. And folks, this will be the match, I would imagine. Time should be up. Stanford celebrates a very good day on the pitch and a very good weekend here in Tempe, Arizona.
Just wore Western Washington down, that's all. Very good in every aspect of the game. Changed their strategy mid first half, and just kept putting pressure on Western Washington, and the scores then started to come, which is basically playoff rugby.
And Chisa Ogaki with the conversion attempt. A bit of an easier kick than what she had last try, but still an angled kick. in a bit of a breezy day here on the Arizona State University campus. Ball is up. Wide right, just a tough kick with this wind pushing to her back.
Yeah, you were right, Brent. That's it.
So the final is 42-10 in favor of the Stanford Cardinal over the Western Washington University Vikings. For myself, Sean O'Leary, APN Productions, and Jeff Lowry, we will sign off, and we will be back for the second match of the day, the 11 o'clock kickoff